There's a particular quiet that belongs to the end of a hard season, not the loud relief of a problem solved, not the triumphant feeling of having won something, just a quiet, the kind that arrives after you've been holding your breath for longer than you realized, and something somewhere finally lets you exhale. If that quiet has found its way to you tonight, even faintly, even for a moment between one worry and the next, I want to welcome it. And I want to welcome you. You may have been through a great deal to arrive here. Weeks or months of a life that asked more of you than felt fair. Nights that were harder than they should have been. Mornings you got through simply by getting through them. I'm not going to ask you to look back at all of that and call it meaningful or necessary or worth it. Sometimes hard things are simply hard, and that's allowed to be true. But I do want to tell you something gently before we go any further tonight. Something good is still possible for you. Not promised, not guaranteed, but possible. Genuinely, quietly possible. In a way that doesn't require you to feel it fully yet, or believe it completely, or do anything at all except be willing to leave the door open a crack. That's all tonight asks of you. Not hope exactly, just willingness. The tiniest, most reasonable willingness to consider that the story isn't finished and that what comes next might be kinder than what came before. So, let yourself arrive here fully. Feel the surface beneath you. The bed, the pillow, the particular tiredness of a body that has carried you through more than it should have had to. Let it be held now. Let your breath slow on its own time without forcing. We have some time together. There's nowhere else you need to be, and nothing else you need to do. Just this. Just resting here while something good quietly finds its way toward you. I want to tell you something about how beginnings actually happen, because it isn't the way we usually imagine. We tend to picture a beginning as something visible, a sunrise, a fresh page, a moment you can point to and say, there, that's when it started. But almost nothing that matters begins that way. The most important beginnings happen somewhere you cannot see them, long before there's any evidence they're happening at all. A seed does not begin becoming a plant the moment it breaks through the soil into the light. That's not the beginning. That's the arrival. The beginning happened earlier, underground, in complete darkness, with no sun to encourage it, and no one watching to confirm it was working. The seed simply did what seeds do. It softened. It sent down the smallest, most tentative root into the soil that gave it no promises. And it kept doing that quietly for as long as it took, long before anything above the ground gave it credit for trying. Tides turn the same way. There's no dramatic moment when the ocean decides to come back in. The turning happens gradually, underneath a surface that still looks to anyone watching exactly like it did an hour before. And then, at some point too gentle to name precisely, the water that was leaving becomes the water that's returning. I want you to consider tonight that whatever hard season you've been in might already be turning in exactly this way. Not visibly yet, not in a way you can point to and trust completely, but underneath, in the part of you that doesn't announce itself, the part that keeps breathing and healing and quietly enduring, even on the nights you feel you have nothing left. Something may already be moving toward the light in the dark before you can see it. You don't have to see it to trust that it might be true. Think for a moment about everything a seed does before it even breaks the surface. It has to soften completely. Its hard outer shell, the part that keeps it safe during the long wait, has to give way before anything new can happen. that softening looks from the outside exactly like nothing. If you dug it up halfway through, you might think it had failed. You might think the darkness had simply swallowed it. But that apparent stillness is not failure. It's the entire process doing exactly what it needs to do at the only pace it can do it. I wonder if some of what has felt like stillness in your own life recently, the waiting, the not yet, the sense that nothing is visibly improving, has actually been this kind of softening. Not failure, not being stuck, simply the necessary, unglamorous, underground part of a being that hasn't reached the light yet. Farmers know this, even if they've never put words to it. They plant in what looks like empty, unpromising ground in seasons that feel too cold and too dark for anything to be happening. And they wait, not because they can see progress, but because they trust a process that has worked before in darkness, without their supervision, more times than can be counted. You are allowed that same trust tonight, not blind faith that everything will be easy, just the reasonable, hard-won trust of someone who has watched hard seasons end before, even if this particular hard season is the first of its kind, even if you cannot remember tonight that things have ever gotten better. They have. They do. Even when the evidence is still entirely underground. I want to sit honestly with what this season has cost you, because a hopeful ending doesn't erase a difficult middle, and I don't want to rush past it. Perhaps it cost you your sense of certainty, the comfortable feeling of knowing roughly before something happened that you didn't choose and couldn't prevent. That kind of loss is disorientating in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't lived it. Perhaps it cost you time with people you love, or energy you didn't have to spare, or a version of yourself that felt easier to be. Perhaps it cost you sleep for longer than you'd like to admit. Nights exactly like the ones this whole series has tried to sit beside you through. Perhaps, most quietly of all, It cost you your belief that things reliably turn out all right. That belief is easy to hold before life tests it, and much harder to hold on to afterward. If you've lost some of it, that isn't a character flaw. It's simply what happens to people who have been through something real. I'm not going to tell you that none of that mattered, or that it was secretly a gift, or that you should already be grateful for the lesson. I don't know if any of that is true for you, and I don't think it's mine to decide. What I do know is this: that season that asked so much of you is not the whole story. It was a chapter, a hard one, but chapters end. I am allowed to have found this hard. I am allowed to let it end. Both of these can be true at once tonight. The difficulty and the ending. You don't have to choose between honoring what was hard and believing that something gentler is coming. Both can be held quietly in the same set of tired hands. I'd like to say one more thing about hard seasons because it matters and it's often left unsaid. They can make it difficult to trust good things when they finally arrive. If you've been let down or disappointed or asked to be resilient for longer than felt fair, some part of you may have quietly decided it's safer not to hope too much. That hoping is what leaves you exposed when things go wrong again. That caution made sense. It was protecting something. I don't want to argue out of it tonight. I only want to offer a gentler possibility alongside it. That you can hold a small hope loosely without betting everything on it, without needing it to be guaranteed before you're allowed to feel it even a little. Hope held this way isn't naive. It's simply willing. It costs you nothing if it doesn't yet come true, and it costs you nothing to let it be true just for tonight, in this dark room where nothing is actually at stake except your own rest. I can hope a little without needing it to be guaranteed. Let those words hold you for a moment. I can hope a little without needing it guaranteed. We're going to count down together now from 10 to 1. With each number, I want you to imagine something small and good, not fixed, not solved, just planted. A tiny seed of something better, set gently into the dark soil of tonight, where it doesn't need your supervision to begin its quiet work. Close your eyes if they aren't already. Let your hands rest open, palms soft, as though they were made for holding something small and new. Take a slow breath in and let it go completely. With that breath, plant the smallest seed, the simple willingness to believe that a good morning is possible. Not this morning necessarily, just a morning, somewhere ahead. Let it rest in the dark now, and let your body soften. Nine. Feel your feet, heavy and warm, sinking into the bed beneath you. Plant a seed here too. Rest itself is part of what makes a good beginning possible. You're not wasting time by resting. You are preparing the ground. Eight. Feel your legs release all the way from hip to heel. Whatever you've been standing firm against for so long, you don't have to hold that position right now. Let a small seed of ease settle into your legs. The seed that says, you have carried enough tonight. Seven. Your stomach now. Let it soften completely without the old vigilance that's been living there. Plant a seed of trust, the simple trust that your body knows how to heal what it needs to heal while you sleep, without your mind supervising every part of the process. Six. Your chest, your heart, the place that has done so much quiet, uncelebrated work these past months. Let it be open now, wide and unguarded. Plant a seed of tenderness toward yourself for having gotten through something difficult in the best way you knew how. Five. Your shoulders dropping further than feels quite normal. Whatever weight has been sitting there, let it lighten by a fraction. Plant a seed of relief, just the possibility that carrying things might eventually feel easier than it has. Four. Your jaw, your face, softening completely. Let go of whatever expression you've been holding out into the world to prove you are managing. You don't have to manage anything right now. Plant a seed of honesty, the quiet relief of not having to perform being fine. Three. Your whole mind now, settling like water finding its own level. No scenario to run tonight, no outcome to steer. Plant one final seed here, the seed of possibility itself, not certainty, just possibility. Enough room for something good to exist. Two. Feel your whole body held completely by what's beneath you. Every seed you've planted tonight is resting now in the dark, doing exactly what seeds do. Nothing visible, nothing dramatic, just the slow, faithful work of becoming. One. You have planted what you needed to plant tonight. The rest is not yours to rush. Somewhere in the dark, quietly, without your effort or your worry. Something good has already begun. I'd like to tell you what I believe happens in the dark while you sleep. I believe that life is not neutral toward you, and it's certainly not against you, however much a hard season can make it feel that way. I believe that underneath the visible surface of things, underneath the tiredness, the waiting, the not yet resolved parts of your life, there's a steady, patient support at work, the way roots work beneath a garden no one is watching. You don't have to earn this support by worrying about whether you deserve it. You don't have to secure it through vigilance or prove yourself worthy through suffering well. It's simply available to you, the way morning is available to anyone who sleeps through the night, whether or not they lay awake dreading it. Life is quietly on my side, even in the parts I cannot yet see. Allow those words to settle into you. Life is quietly on my side, even in the parts I cannot yet see. There's an old idea, worn smooth by countless people who found it true before you, that what we hold in our thoughts and feelings tends to shape what we find ourselves moving toward, not through force, but the way a current shapes a boat that stops fighting it. Tonight, you don't have to fight the current. You only have to stop bracing against the possibility of something good. Somewhere ahead of you is an ordinary morning, softer than the ones you've had recently. It may not arrive tomorrow. It doesn't need to. It only needs to be real and possible and quietly on its way. The way spring is real and possible even on the coldest night of winter. Even when there's no visible evidence of it anywhere above the ground. I don't have to see the morning to trust that it is coming. I don't have to see the morning to trust that it is coming. Let your whole body believe that, even before your mind fully agrees. Let it be true in your chest, in your open hands, in the parts of you that are already quietly healing. I don't say any of this to promise you a particular outcome. I don't know the specific shape of what's coming for you, and I wouldn't presume to. What I do believe, what I have watched to be true again and again in my own life and in the lives of people I've loved through their own hard season, is that things move. Even when they feel permanently stuck, they move. The winter that felt endless does eventually give way to something green. The waiting that felt unbearable does eventually resolve into an answer, even if it isn't the answer you expected. Life has a way of continuing to unfold gently toward more life, even after the periods that convinced us it had stopped. You are still unfolding too, whether you can feel it tonight or not. The very fact that you are here, listening, willing to consider that something good might still be possible, that is not nothing. That is a form of quiet courage. That's you still reaching toward morning, even from inside a season that has made mornings hard to believe in. Somewhere in the world tonight, underground, a seed that has waited all winter is beginning almost imperceptibly to soften. It has no evidence yet that spring is coming. No sunlight has reached it. No warmth has told it that the waiting is nearly over. And yet it moves anyway, trusting something it cannot see, unfolding toward a light it hasn't met yet, simply because that is what it was made to do. And somewhere tonight, far out at sea, a tide that has been going out for hours is beginning just as quietly to turn. Nothing above the surface shows it yet, but underneath, the great patient rhythm of the ocean is already changing direction, already moving toward the shore it will eventually faithfully return to. You are more like these than you might remember on a hard night. Something in you may already be turning underground, out of sight, simply because that is what living things do when they've been given enough rest and enough darkness to do their quiet work. You don't have to feel it turning tonight. You only have to let it turn. Somewhere tonight, too, the sky is doing what it always does in the hours before dawn, holding its darkest color just before the first, almost imperceptible lightening at the edge of things. If you've ever been awake at that hour, you know that the darkest part of the night and the first sign of morning are closer together than they feel. The dark does not fight the light when it finally comes. It simply, quietly makes room. You can make room too, even tonight, even without proof. Let your breath grow slower. Let your body grow heavier, held completely by the bed beneath you. Somewhere, gently in the dark, morning is already being made. Let these words settle over you like the last light before sleep. Something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. Something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. Something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. If sleep hasn't found you just yet, I've left another recording here. something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. Something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. Something good is coming. I don't have to see it to let it be true. I rest now and let the morning find me. If sleep hasn't found you just yet, I've left another recording here. to help you drift off to sleep.